Hello, and welcome to a quick update following the horrendous rule that is limiting students that are studying online, international students. We've been getting a lot of questions from worried students from universities that we're working with, and I wanted to uh, you know jump on this live to answer some of the questions that we've been getting and give you a quick update as to what's happening right now with this rule and what's going to happen. So, any of you that are joining in right now, let me know where you are tuning in from. This is a really important topic, and it affects a lot of students that are currently here in the U.S. and also the ones that are overseas. So, welcome, those of you who joined. Let me know where you're from. Um, I will be talking about the lawsuit that was filed today, and and kind of what's going to happen, a few options with following the lawsuit, answering a lot of your questions, online, offline, leaving the country, what to do next. So stay tuned. I'll be back in just a second. I will answer your questions and give you a full update on what's happening. All right. So, as you know, yesterday a very bad rule was published. Essentially, it's essentially like it's a ban on international students. And today there was a lawsuit that was filed by Harvard and MIT. This is a copy of the lawsuit. You can see it right here. And essentially, what it is, the goal is to get an injunction. The goal is to get an injunction to stop the rule. So if this works, we're going to know in the next few days if an injunction has been issued, and if an injunction has been issued, that means that this rule is going to, not be in effect. But as of now, it is in effect, and it's impacting a lot of people. So let's go jump into the rule, and I've got a few questions that I prepared here for you guys. So let's talk about it right away. So first of all, what is this? What is this rule exactly, and how it's affecting international students? So, yes, July 6th, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE), their division of the Exchange Visitor Program, it's called SEVP. They issued essentially a rule saying that they are no longer going to provide exemptions for international students taking online classes. And again, this is basically something that they've done before. They used to, especially during the pandemic, as you remember, they had a very a good flexibility, allowing people to, who are studying online to keep doing this online. But just out of the blue, they decided to stop it, and we have no idea why. But that's the bottom line is that if students are going to institutions that are 100% online, those are not going to be able to stay in the US. They're going to have to leave. And those that are coming from overseas and applying for universities that are 100% online also are going to not going to be able to get visas and come to the United States. So this is essentially what this new policy is about. Um, Now, one of the biggest questions that I'm getting is, can international students take full-time online courses from inside the US? So again, under this new policy, the answer is no. With regard to fall 2020, students that are here on F1, M1, and they're attending schools that are entirely online, they're not going to be able to remain in the United States, and they're going to have to depart. And those students that are currently overseas and are waiting for their visa interviews as soon as consulates are going to reopen, those students are not going to be able to get visas to come to the United States. Again, this is an entire, again, in my mind, it's an entire ban on F1 students because right now it's really, really important for students to stay safe, to prevent the spread of the virus, and to encourage people to come back to school right now does not make sense at all. So again, if your school is full-time online, offering only online courses, unfortunately, under this rule at the moment, you're not going to be able to stay in the United States, and you're going to have to depart. Um, let's look here. All right. Another questions we're getting is, if I'm overseas and I take online courses, what will happen to my SEVIS record? And as you know, SEVIS record is what is issued by your school to maintain your um, to maintain your status. So essentially, if you are in the United States and you are taking full online courses, that it's going to impact your SEVIS, right? So essentially, your SEVIS will be terminated. So if you are overseas and you take online courses and you want to maintain your SEVIS at this moment under the new regulations, you're not going to be able to do it, and they're going to terminate you. And so basically, what's going to happen is that it's not going to cancel your visa, but it's just going to cancel your SEVIS. So essentially, when you go back to school in the future, you're going to be able to reinstate it. But this is something that we hear from um, from other schools and also from the actual government as to how they're going to be processing. Let's continue with that. So another question we get is, if I do all my classes online but cannot go home due to travel ban and I'm afraid to travel, what are your options? So that's a really good question, and essentially is, there's a few options. So if you are overseas and you're trying to do all your clients, if you're here and you cannot go home, there are options to switch your status to tourist visa. So, or you can transfer to another school that doesn't have online programs, and also just change your status to something else. So right now we have a lot of students that are basically are in limbo. They're trying to figure out what to do, and this is some of the options that I usually recommend right now, is to see if they're not able to travel because there's a travel ban or the countries are not accepting them right now. The worst thing you can do is overstay, obviously, so you don't want to be terminated your student status and just not be able to stay in the country. So potentially um, switching to a tourist visa could be something that is possible. Some students that are actually afraid to go home because of whatever reasons may also have an option to apply for asylum potentially. So that can be something as well that they can do. But the most important thing is to take proactive action. And if you are not able to leave, you're trying to leave the United States, but there's no flights and you're stuck here, then um, I would definitely recommend to either do a change of status or apply for a different status that will be applicable to you for as a tourist visa or asylum if you're afraid to go home, or maybe we have quite a few students that are they're towards graduation and they were going to start businesses, so maybe like an E2 visa from inside the U.S. So there's quite a few options. It's important to consult an attorney to make sure that whatever option is applicable to you is the right one for you. Let's go back to the next question here. Here. So a lot of people are asking if your visas are going to be canceled if you are studying from overseas. So again, if you have a valid student visa, if you have a valid student visa, then those should not be canceled. Um, what is going to be canceled is your I-20, but your student visa itself is not going to be canceled. And the reason is because you're still studying overseas, so that shouldn't be a cancel. So again, your SEVIS will be terminated because you are obviously not here, but your actual visa and your passport is still going to be good, and you should be okay to come back to the U.S. In the future when you come back. So this is something that we're getting the information right now, and I think it's important to pass that to you as well. Okay, let me see here. Next one here. Okay. Um, we had another question about I. Okay. So one question that we're getting a lot is, do I need a new I-20 to show um, if you have a mix of in-person and online classes? So, for example, if you're going to be doing online classes and in-person classes, do you need to get a new I-20? So, I was talking to a few institutions today, and from the guidance that we're getting, um, that's something that is yes. So basically, you're going to need a new I-20 that will be verifying that your program is not entirely online, that you're not taking only online courses, and that you're taking the minimum number of online courses to make normal progress in your degree. So essentially, if you're going to be doing what is called a hybrid, the institution that you're going to be going to is going to give you a new I-20 to reflect basically your new situation, because you are basically doing online and in-person classes. So it's really important to understand that the schools are also adapting to this situation, and they're going to be able to provide the necessary documents to the student to be able to meet the requirements. We also have a question about spouses and children and dependents, people that have family members. Let me click to the next slide. So our spouses and children of international students affected. So again, whatever status you're having, the same status is your family members and spouses. So if you are taking full-time classes online and you have to leave the country, then your family is going to leave with you, and so it's impacting as well. What is really important to know in this situation is that with the current litigation, we hope that these things are. We really hope that the injunction is going to be. They're going to achieve that injunction because, like I said, people are really distraught. There's so many news articles. There's so many news articles that are essentially talking about people that are impacted by this and they need to leave the country and they really don't know what to do at this point. So just like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you are at an institution that is taking online courses only and you're inside the United States, I think that there's quite a few institutions that are willing to take on students to be able to offer either the hybrid or in person if you don't want to leave. But if you do have to leave the country, it's really important to make the planning right now to make sure that it's not going to impact your future status or being able to come back to the United States. Again, even if you have to leave the United States for the full semester, you should be able to come back afterwards for the future semesters, and it's not going to impact your eligibility. And specifically, they said that the actual student visa is not going to be impacted. So we got a bunch of questions. I wasn't able to put all of them on the PowerPoint, but let me see what other questions we had. Some people were asking about how come the government was able to relax the rules in March and April, and now suddenly they came back with this crazy guidelines. So they basically have this question. So the government had discretion to relax the rules. They can do the same thing they do right now. They're using the discretion to do this. I mean, we don't know why they're doing it, but what happened in the spring was essentially exercising discretion to make sure that students are safe and to prevent the spread of the virus. I mean, they should have probably kept it now as well. Another question is we have students that are currently on campus. So students that are currently on campus and they want to know how this is going to impact them. So basically, if you take all your classes on campus and you happen to be one of those students, then this policy is not affecting you. We have a lot of students that are taking English classes before a degree, and those are required to be on campus. So obviously, you're not impacted. So if you're on campus, you're not impacted at all. Let me see what other questions we have. So again, we have questions about the hybrid model. Students asking, we're going to take classes under the hybrid model. Is this going to affect? So again, if you're taking this on the hybrid model, you'll get an I-20 that is going to be adjusted to your new way of taking classes, and this I-20 will reflect that you are not full-time online, that you're taking the minimum needed to finish your degree, and the school is going to give you this new I-20, and I mentioned that, and I answered that questions before. Let me see what other questions we have. So once again, I answered that question. If your student visa is going to be canceled, if you're studying the full courses abroad, no, it's not going to be canceled. The only thing that is going to be canceled is your SEVIS. The SEVIS is going to be terminated if you're taking all your classes abroad. We have questions about deportation. Students are asking, are we going to be deported if and when this policy is taken into effect? So again, you're not going to be deported if you are follow the procedures, meaning that if you are in a full-time online school, you have to make the necessary you have to take the necessary actions to transfer to either a different institution or switch your status to a different status or leave the country. As long as you do that, nobody's going to come and deport you. They're not just going to come and deport you. I mean, I know that there's a lot of concerns about that, but that's just how it is. And once again, people are wondering if they're trying to leave but they can't leave. So if you can't leave, then the best thing to do is to switch your status, and I mentioned that before. And again, those students that are overseas and they're trying to get visas, if the embassy is going to know or think that your institution is online only, or they suspect it is online, then the chances of you getting visa are not going to be good. So you're not going to get the visa. So, I mean, these are the main things that are people are asking. I mean, the most questions about the hybrid, taking full-time classes. Let me see if I missed any of the questions. Yeah, so I mean, this is most of the questions that I've been getting. Let me see some of your questions here, guys, because I got a lot of questions in emails. And once again, if you're here for the first time, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We release videos every single week, so just click to subscribe, and also give us a like. Make sure that the video is going to be seen by other people. Once again here, let me take a few of your questions. Let's see here. Mike, I want U.S. Embassy to reopen. I can marry my. Here we go. Yes, embassies are going to reopen soon, but we don't know yet. Let me see. Let me take a few of your student visa. I know you have a lot of questions for me. I'm going to take a few of the student visa questions. Here we go. Ashish is asking, is SEVIS going to be terminated? Let me see here. Is SEVIS going to be terminated? OPT going to be impacted when we come back in 2020? No. So it's not going to impact your OPT, and when you come back to finish spring, it's not going to be impacted. The OPT is not going to be impacted. Let me see here. A few more of your student visa questions. Here we go. This policy will go away by itself, just inhumane, no need to make. I agree. It will go. I mean, it's it's a big deal for a lot of students that are currently here, and they're literally freaking out what they're gonna do when fall semester starts, and that's why we're doing this video, because I wanted to update you on what are some of the options that you have, specifically where we have the this when we're switching from hybrid to non-hybrid, and those that are basically are not able to find a new university, they have to find a way to change their status. So you know, so anyway, that's just a quick update. Sophia, how do we change from F1 to a tourist visa? So essentially, there's an application you file online. Of course, you have to qualify. You have to show that you're not intending to, violate your, that you're going to be a real tourist, that you really have no option to leave, and that seems to be one of the best options to do that. Let me take a few questions that we have here. People want to know. Oh yeah, this is a good question here. Somebody's asking, if you start a fall semester under in-person or hybrid, but then the class moves to online in the middle of the semester. So that's actually a good question. So you basically start in person or you start online. You start basically hybrid, and then during the year it moves online. So based on the interpretation, you still consider it to be hybrid, because when you started it wasn't full online, so you still should be okay. I mean, there's going to be a lot of questions from universities. They're going to be confused about it, but if I get F1 change status and my school isn't offering hybrid or face-to-face classes, do I need to leave? So yes. So if your school doesn't offer hybrid or face-to-face, yes, you have to leave, because it's going to be online. So this is clearly one of the regulations, and trust me, ICE is going to be looking for people to enforce this, right? Anyway, guys, keep asking your questions in the comments. I'm going to log off right now. You can keep asking questions. Once again, remember, please subscribe to our channel. We'll be doing updates like this every single week as soon as we have new information. We also have a private Facebook group. Make sure you join the group. The link is in the description of this video. As soon as I'm offline, you can find the link and join the group so you can continue the conversation over there. And yeah, thank you guys as always for supporting me. You're amazing. This community would not exist without you. For keep subscribing to our channel, sharing this video. I didn't see too many videos out there answering questions from students about all these things we just mentioned. So I just wanted to do this for you guys. All right. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.